Every time. Every time. What's going on, everybody? This be your boy Scotty by Nature TV and
Jamar 4.
and we are here for a brand new episode of the Prelude, okay? And we are here to talk to one of the one of the biggest stars of this particular franchise of Chasing Reality. He is he's a stylist, he has his own clothing line, and he has a great big personality. And one of my favorite lines from this person is boop, 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 boop. That's how I was introduced to him. That's one of my favorite moments from him. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and bring him in the building. We got Mr. Andre from Chasing LA. What's going on, Andre? What's going
Hey
on?
guys, how are you?
All right, we
I
are good. We are
I
good,
have not
good.
thought about that moment in a while. That was the first episode.
The
Wasn't it?
first
First
episode.
episode.
The very
Very
first.
first episode.
So you just came off swinging. Y'all, y'all at that Hamburger Mary's table was all over the place. But girl, it brought us to where we are now.
Here
I
we
will
are
never
today.
forget it. I would
Hey,
never
what's
forget it.
it's like y'all will never forget it. It caused so much chaos and drama that literally ensued for like 2 years. So even like today, we're still talking about stuff that happened then because of the impact that it had, within certain individuals in the group. But you know what? Season 1 was iconic. Loved it, hated it, whatever you thought, it was iconic.
I mean, looking back at it now, yeah, it was definitely, like, wow, there was a lot that went on. So, since this is your first time here, even though we've given you, your own introduction, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what it is that you do, and an interesting fact that the audience may not know about you.
Oh, an interesting fact. Okay, I'm gonna have to think about that. But okay, so a little bit about me, of course. My name is Andre. I coined myself all about Andre. And I'm a fashion stylist, a media personality. And I've been living in Los Angeles since about 2013 or 14. I'm originally from Tennessee. I know some people may know that. I'm originally from Tennessee. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, actually a small town right outside of Memphis, Tennessee called Somerville.
Mm-hmm.
And I lived in Nashville. That's where I went to college, and that's kind of what led me into kind of being in the business. In 2013, after my mom passed away of breast cancer, I moved to Los Angeles, and that is what kind of where I embarked on this journey of being like in entertainment, becoming a fashion stylist, and just really developing myself into a personality.
Okay, dope. I love that. We love to see, our people of color come from a small town and make it in the big city. Because I was in LA for about a couple of years, and LA will spit you out.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I've seen so many people come and go. One of the things that I'm super grateful about is in LA, maybe a lot of people don't know this, is that I have a strong family base here in Los Angeles. My grandparents both live here. My dad's parents, they both live here, and they have a family, as well. So I have aunts, uncles, cousins, my grandparents. So that's one of the things that I think helped me to survive LA is that I had, like still a strong family base. It wasn't I lived in Riverside for like the first couple of years of me even living here. I didn't even live in LA. So I had like a very realistic approach to what it is to live in California. How can I sustain myself, be in this business, and all of that stuff. So yeah.
Awesome. I wish I had. That was probably one thing that kind of made me come back towards the South. Is like all of mine is like in Texas or like Alabama. So here I am in Atlanta, still a hot spot. But I had to let LA go. I had to let go.
She's something else now, child. Miss LA girl, she ain't no joke.
Baby, all three of my two other my roommates, we all paying over $1,200 to stay. Great.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that you're known for being, a successful stylist in LA, but what's your testimony? Like, what's the story of Andre? Because a lot of people can't, are into fashion. They love to style. They do it as a hobby. Entertainment, even for us, is a hobby. So how is it that you're able to sort of make a living doing the thing that you love to do?
It really just, I would say time and preparation. Like in the beginning stages of me being a fashion stylist, it wasn't like I just came out the gate and was able to sustain myself doing it. I still worked, a traditional 9 to 5 job. I worked up until about 2019, I think is when I left, my 9 to 5 and really began to full-time costume design and fashion style. And I think that's another huge difference that I like will have to point out about myself is that like I'm not just a quote unquote fashion stylist. Like my bread and butter is not me working with celebrities or influencers every day, but more specifically, I do costume design. So I work on films and things like that. So when you guys see me, like on the sets of different projects or films, like a movie shoots like a 9 to 5 job in the way of it typically shoots, or a TV show, it shoots like 5 days a week. You're off for 2 days and then it goes back in. And like maybe a job might last anywhere. There are short jobs where, I might work a job for like a week, or if I'm on a film, it might last like 22 days or 30 days or something like that. So like because of the type of work that I do specifically in entertainment, like you meet people that do their PAs and their production designers and they're like all of these other departments that exist within being on a television show. So I think a part of my sustainability is that I built an on-camera personality, but I come from working behind the scenes of television and film.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's super dope. I'm just trying to get in the door. I feel like we working on it. We getting there. Things are happening. So I just
You
love to see
getting there?
my.
Yes, it takes time. It definitely takes time. Like I said, I've been living in LA since 2014, and I'm just in 2022 and 2023 really getting solidified as a costume designer. Like COVID, randomly enough, was one of the things that helped me because I did a lot of prior to me like doing it full time. I would like assist and like intern and stuff like that. So I was assisting with I think I had like just lost my job or like I quit my job at H&M. I was a visual merchandiser at H&M. I quit my job to go do basically be like how you say like an influencer coordinator for like a brand new fashion startup company. Well, and within 2 weeks, the company they ran out of all of their funding and I lost my position. And so I couldn't go back to H&M because you know how the girls go out with a blaze of glory. And so I'm now in a position where I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna do? So costume designer was looking for an assistant for a 22-day movie shoot. That's an amount of time that typically most people can't commit to that amount of time because unless they already do it professionally because they work a regular job. And so I was in a position where I didn't work a regular job. So that person then referred me to a costume designer that did films for Lifetime. And then during COVID, that person decided they didn't want to do it anymore. And then therefore I got the job. So it was really just like timing, the preparation. By the time that I had got the job, I was in a space where I could actually handle it. Because, sometimes you want stuff and if you can't handle it, you'll fumble the bag anyway. So I think at the time that it happened to me, because I had assisted with that person for like a year, when he decided not to do it, I knew the ins and outs of doing it.
Okay, look, it's right place at the right time. Most.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like even though COVID kind of hurt people, it helped people too. You know what I'm saying? Like it had its ups and
Mm-hmm.
downs for everybody. And I would say that just like you said, you've been living in LA since 2014. And I think you said what in 20 when you first started getting
2020.
2020. Oh yeah, in 2020, that's when you started, getting some up in what you do. It's kind of in relation to what me and Jamar do. We've been doing YouTube. I've been doing it for since 2010. He's been doing it since
Let's say 13.
2013. When COVID started in 2020, that's when we really was starting to go somewhere. Like we have done so much shit over the last 2 years that it's crazy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like we were able to interview people that's, you know, first of all, Candy Burris, this was our biggest interview. So we were able to do that. Like
Congratulations. I saw that. I was like, oh, y'all, that was dope. That was a big moment.
It was.
yes, it was. Like we didn't well, like we never expected to do stuff like that. So I said all that to say, even though COVID kind of F stuff up for certain people, it kind of helped people like us who's I don't want to what can we say? Creators. Let's just say that.
Uh-huh.
Creators. It helped
You're
us.
Creators. People that like in a normal time, like you might not have even gotten the opportunity because I feel like, just how things work. So I feel like it gave people that oftentimes don't get an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
so like I think if you were smart, with your money and all the different things that were available, you could have definitely put yourself in a position to come out on an upswing. And thank God that I tried to do that for myself. So
Most
Absolutely,
definitely.
absolutely. So now we want to get to learn a little bit more about your clothing company with Shop Him. Tell us about the inception, the idea. Like, how do you even like? Where does a clothing? Because there's so many, clothing lines. There's so many that do, similar things. So when you're coming out with your own, like, how do you go in to try to distinguish yourself in the industry?
I think like a big thing is for me because I was working with a lot of independent brands already, especially like in the beginning stages of my career when I was doing a lot more like influencer and editorial based styling. Like
Mhm.
clothing companies will a lot of times send me clothes or reach out to me asking me like, oh, I saw you working with this person. Like, just different people that I was working with and as I was doing the work. And so a lot of like resources became like available to me. And so I started thinking like, well, you know what? I'm helping other brands with this placement opportunity. I'm giving them a opportunity for their clothing to be placed on influencers and celebrities or in magazines. They're getting tags and promotion, which essentially leads to sales and which drives your business, which helps build a brand identity. And I started to think that I was doing myself a disservice by not having something like that for myself. And I felt like particularly I love men's fashion. I love just the aesthetic that I like for myself, you know what I mean, how I like to dress and how I like to feel. And so that was something that I wanted to be like influenced in my clothing brand. Again, another part of it, I feel like I feel like I wanted to have a boutique, or I knew that I wanted to do those kind of things. But living in Tennessee and not necessarily knowing how to take those steps or what the resources were or how to maneuver, working in the business, I had a first-hand access to some of this stuff. It's like, oh, well, these are the vendors and these are the manufacturers and these people, so I feel like it was really a case again of just the perfect timing in my career where I was at and what I was doing. So Shop Him was birthed in November of like 2019. I was going on class. At this time, y'all, I kid y'all not, I probably had 6 pieces. I had got my little 6 pieces. I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to put some money into it. I'm going to get my website. Like, I got somebody to build the website for me for free in exchange for some other stuff. So I just started, pulling my little resources that I could pull together. I got the website up. And I was like, everything I do, I don't know if y'all know about this about me, I try to make everything feel big. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
feel like Andre releasing a clothing line. Oh my gosh, let me go and see what it's about. Like, you know what I mean? And I always do this thing about me referencing myself as him. Like I always say, oh, you know what, I'm him. Da, 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 da. So I was like, what if I name my clothing brand Shop Him? And I felt like from a marketing standpoint, I thought of all these different little clever things that we could do marketing wise. Like we had a campaign called Fall for Him or Love Him. So it was just this thing. I was like, him.
I love that. I love that. And you spell it with an E, correct?
Yes, HEM,
Yeah.
like the hem of a garment.
Yes. Yeah. I said, okay.
And
Okay. I
plus, we
see.
don't really have a lot of boutiques for males.
No,
The
Well,
no.
women got all the damn boutiques. We barely got anywhere to shop.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, I agree with that. So that's another reason specifically why I wanted to do men. Like I subscribe to like GQ, Men's Health. I read a lot of magazines. That's just kind of like another little tidbit about me, which is kind of why I got into when I was doing styling, started styling a lot with magazine covers and working with independent magazines because I love magazines and I love menswear. And so that was really important to me when like I guess presenting something to the world that it was something that had an organic connection to Andre.
mhm. And you can tell, like, when people are, doing something that they really feel connected to and the kind of effort that they put into, like, it usually shows in the product. So happy to see it. Always good to see, my people of color doing their thing.
Thank
I know,
you.
right?
Because there's not a lot of people out there. There's not a lot of people. I really want us to try to stick together, you know. So when I need some clothes, I know who to call. I don't need to call like
Okay.
the big, conglomerate corporations. We can keep the money within our
Yes.
community.
Keep it in house.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
So switching gears a bit, how would you say because you said you were from Memphis, Tennessee, so you have roots in the South. How would
Mm-hmm.
you navigated, your queerness as a child in the South?
Whew. It's funny because yeah, that's like woo.
Right.
Because I'm in
That's
Mississippi,
so deep.
so
No, it's funny
I'm in
because
Mississippi, so I'm in Mississippi, so I bet I relate.
what part of Mississippi are you in?
I'm right outside of Jackson. I'm like 20 minutes outside of Jackson.
Okay, got you. Yes. Um, it's funny because I think because of the time that I guess like that we grew up in, some of it you become so it's so normal and you become, I guess, almost desensitized to some of the negative parts of it. But then when you look back as an adult, you be like, well, damn, some of that was kind of traumatic as fuck. But I didn't really take it that way. Like I definitely learned to like, I guess, be defensive to some degree, like at an early age, because I had to defend myself. It was the you black jokes, you gay jokes, you this jokes, you this. So you had to, be able to kind of come back with it and dish it back out. And then, Lord, you have to end up in a little scuffle or. So I definitely experienced all of that, even up until like college. But I feel like around the time that I came out, like my experience started to be different because I think because prior to coming out, I felt so uncomfortable, I guess, like in my skin and who I was. And I feel like that outwardly manifested. And I felt like it almost make you a target because you look uncomfortable. And no matter what you're doing, people can see through that. And I feel like once I came out and I stopped really caring what the next person would say or what they would think or whatever, like my experiences where people were like completely different.
Yeah, I definitely feel that.
It's almost like once you come into your own, I can't use that as a weapon against you anymore. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like, well, at that point, they're like, okay, well, he know he gay. So what is it that I'm gonna say? Is they're like, you're gay. Yes, I am. Do you know? Do you know some gay guys that I might need to get to know? Like, come on, girl. Come, you gotta come with
I
something better.
started being real disrespectful. I was like, ask your dad about me here. Yeah, that's the type of shit I
Oh,
be
not it
on.
down in Mississippi now, okay?
just saying. Shit. That's it.
Your brother know.
Right.
ooh,
9 times out of 10, he be knowing, in my
Do
experience.
in mine too, but
you got
this
to look at the
look.
browser history of all your bullies. Look at the browser history of your bullies.
Not the browser history.
Get all they POA.
You said what was Adam for Adam?
Oh, right. That's not no football league either. That's not a football league, bitch.
It ain't a little league team, sis.
Shit.
Right, okay. But so how would you describe dating in LA, and are you currently dating right now?
Dating in LA is a sport. It's a sport. You gotta go out, you gotta go fishing, you know what I'm saying? You gotta have gotta come with your best self ready. But no, for real, dating in LA is crazy. I think because I'm a very career driven person, I don't put a lot of like I haven't in the past put a whole lot of energy into like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to date. I have so many goals that, you know what I'm saying, I'm trying to like navigate and figure out for myself that it hasn't been on the forefront, but I have dated, you know what I'm saying? I've had, relationships and stuff like that since I've been here. And I've had some good ones and I've had some bad ones. I think a lot of it is just about having like a genuine connection with somebody, because I feel like you can meet people and they can want things from you and you can want things from them that are just not, realistic for either one of you. And so I've learned to just kind of, ride the tide, see how things go, and I don't put too much energy into it. I say that now, but child, my clock is ticking now. So
like my eggs
I
driving.
got about probably a good 4 or 5 years to figure out if anybody could be the one.
Well, somebody asked in the chat, do you want children? I guess that
I do
goes that's
want
out to the
children.
question.
I would love to have
Okay.
children. Yeah, I do. I want to have children. I want to have a family. I want to, when I feel like I've done the things that I want to do in the entertainment business, I would like to, settle down in suburbia, child, and just live my life, run my businesses, pop into the city, go to work, and then go back out. You know what I'm saying?
Not
Well,
Rico with a K saying you cheating on him, child.
Rico,
But
you know how to find me.
I'm sorry.
yeah.
We're gonna ask the next
You know
question.
how to
I'm
find
gonna
me.
ask this. Before you answer that, I just thought about this because while I was in LA trying to date, would you say it's accurate that it's hard to date in LA because everyone expects you to be on all the time? Like people are
Mhm.
perpetrating, and they feel like, okay, if I'm living in LA, if I want to put my best foot forward, I have to be like I'm this person of this company. Like they have to really. Is it fake? Like, did you get a lot of people
Yeah,
like?
I do think so. I think absolutely so, especially like if we talking about like in the nightlife and being on the scene and
Mhm,
being out and
mhm,
about. Like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like obviously in those spaces, people see you in one way, and so then the thought of you becomes there are all these other layers. So after we leave the club and I get home and you come back to my apartment and I'm chilling and I got on some sweatpants and a t-shirt and I'm doing laundry, do you still think, you know what I'm saying? Are you still trying to have a moment with me? So I feel like a lot of times people aren't interested in going like behind the veil. They just want the shiny, you know what I'm saying? The shiny, pretty, like fun new toy part about it. This person looks good. We could go out and they do this, they
Mhm.
do that. They have this many followers. I definitely think so. Like, especially now more than ever, I wouldn't even say paranoid, but I'm very like skeptical because of like the show. A lot of people they see me out and about, obviously, and they are familiar with the show and they're familiar with the content. And then so I'm like, are you more interested in the show or me? Or are you interested in because you think you could potentially get on the show? Or like, so now it's like all of these other things that I never even really considered because I'm like, well, damn, I just want to go. We can go to PF Chains, eat a meal. Well, Cheesecake
You know,
Factory, like,
it's
I
so
don't know.
funny that you saying it because me and Jamar had this conversation not too long ago. I said at this point, when guys try to talk to me and hit me up, I have to talk to their ass on vanish mode now because I don't know what they on. I don't know what they trying to do. I don't know what they on, and I'm not even like huge or just big like that. But I was talking to somebody else and they were saying you might not feel like you huge or you big like that, but you got something going on. So ain't no telling what these people trying to do. Like now, it's like
Mm-hmm.
the more I grow on YouTube, the more people be trying to come in my DMs, be trying to talk to me, and I be talking to their ass on vanish mode because I don't know what the fuck they on. I don't know what you want or what
Period.
you trying to do. I don't know.
No, look,
Okay.
no face, no case. Period.
Right. Okay. Like no. So did you have anyone in particular that inspired you to get into the fashion industry at all?
No one in particular, but I do like to accredit it to my mom because she did early on give me the ability to like express myself via my clothing. She would, like I remember being literally like in kindergarten being like, I want to pick out my clothes, I want to pick out my clothes or whatever. And so she always gave me kind of like that freedom. And I think although she might not have necessarily understood me being gay and what that experience was for me, I feel like she still allowed me enough space to kind of just do my thing without too much, like nagging judgment type of a thing or whatever. And so
Mm-hmm.
I do like to accredit it to her because, I think through her, I, got to like express myself via my clothing.
Okay. So
Yeah.
with all your success, what would you say is the end goal for your career, or have you already achieved that already?
Oh no, I definitely haven't achieved it already, child. I feel like I have so far to go and still like so many things that I want to do. And I feel like what I can say is that the experiences that I have had, the especially like the good ones and the moments, moments that I just never really saw for myself, they have helped me redefine what I want for my career and for my brand. I think ultimately
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see myself like as kind of more of a fashion personality, a commentator, like reviewing red carpet looks, going to major news media outlets. That's like I talk about it on the show, and I know it's sometimes it feels braggadocious, and I don't try to put it in that way, but I have had like some big media opportunities to come my way and television opportunities to come my way by the hard work that I put into my fashion career. And so I want to translate that to something even bigger because everybody cannot just off of the strength of their career go to Fox Soul and sit with Claudia Jordan. You know what I'm saying? And these things
right.
are things that I did pre-chasing. So it wasn't no reality personality. It was, me off the strength of my career to compete as an expert on the Look All Stars, which was nationally syndicated, and it was a makeover series that only highlighted the best of the best. I'm there with Patrick Starr and Emily from Real Housewives of Orange County, and just doing these, working in these spaces. And so that is, I think, ultimately what I would like to see for myself, is that I want to be, oh, perfect. Sorry, that's work texting right there. See, but I want to see myself just definitely hit those national stages more and really be a fashion commentator, a personality dish on pop, pop culture, hot topics, like all of that good stuff. So.
Well, I don't see that as being braggadocious. I just feel like you're just saying what you already accomplished already, and you have the drive to do more with it. Because I ain't gonna lie to you, I used to like, even now that Jamar and I got to interview Candy or whatever, I didn't want to bring it up so much because I didn't want to feel like I was bragging about certain stuff. Like when we started like interviewing people that was off TV and getting the numbers for it and shit like that, I was like, well,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I interviewed this person, interviewed that person, being real humble about it. And everybody was like, you don't have to do all that. You really accomplished that. Like you need to bask in what you already done. That's what you're supposed to do. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
see you being. I don't see it as being braggadocious. You're just letting us know what you've accomplished and the things that you're trying to accomplish in the future. I don't see nothing wrong with talking about what you doing, what you're doing, where you're going, where you're trying to go. Ain't nothing wrong with that, because one of me and Jamar's dream interviews was Candy. We both said
Mm-hmm.
we wanted it, and we got it. Okay, we got it,
Yep.
and us having that interview, that means the price is going up. That means we can interview anybody we want to if we really take out the time to do it.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
it ain't braggadocious. You doing what the
Yes.
hell you supposed to do. Talk about what you doing and inspire everybody else to do the same thing. That's
Thank you. That's
period.
what ultimately what I try to do. I feel like a lot of times, especially again pre-chasing, a lot of people that will reach out to me or that felt connections to me based off of the stuff that I've done here in LA. It was so like, and they felt inspired to see me doing things that made them feel like, oh, you know what? Well, I could do X, Y, and Z, or I could do this as well. And I feel like ultimately for me, that is what it's all about. That's why I said, like, I try to bring everything and make it big, especially on the show and as it relates to the show. I try to make it big and bring it big because I want us all to realize just how much what we're capable of when we really take those steps and just believe and invest in ourselves. Like when I walk into a room, I'm gonna tell you who Andre is out the gate. You know what I'm saying? That don't mean I'm gonna drop my credentials
Right.
or my resume or whatever, but just in terms of being who I am, a dynamic person and just a big personality, I'm gonna always champion myself. And that's just how it is.
All right then, Jamar. Are you froze? Oh.
I shouldn't. I was say I
Oh.
shouldn't be shouting. But yeah, back on that, I feel like you should be able to shout, your blessings from the highest heavens. Okay. Shit.
Especially, the girls, they be around here. They was trying to shade me. Oh, well, you ain't got no supporters, or you only got this many followers, and da-da-da. I'm like, okay, girl, listen. To be clear, I don't give a damn how many supporters I got. The ones that I got are very influential, and they are putting me in spaces and opportunities that I haven't seen a lot of y'all have. In the first like 2 episodes or 3 episodes of Chasing LA this season alone, I had like 3 paid bookings and I brought Diamond onto the show. You know what I mean? So sometimes I'm like, it be like, okay, girl, like you want to talk about what I got going on? I've ran it. Now, what's your car's looking like?
Because even like, oh, you only have like 1,000 followers. Okay, but what if those followers are like Beyonce, Kanye West, Ariana Grande, Rihanna, Candy? Does that make me any less than somebody who has bought 30,000?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't at all. This was like when I post, especially with regard to my work, it typically leads to another opportunity and another opportunity and another opportunity. So yes, I'm very diligent about posting. I'm very diligent about promoting myself. I'm very diligent about it because it's social media. But when you use social media as the tool that it is, it'll help advance you. And so that's to me what it's all about. Again, like right now, the magazine cover that I was on, that same particular magazine, they have Amaya Scott as the cover. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm associated with that brand, and I got a cover off of the work that I did with a tenth of the platform that she has. You know what I mean? So again, that's why I say the work, honestly, work over clout. Work over clout. Because when the work is for real and it's substantiated, I don't give a damn if you have 500 followers. Because the work is real, you'll get the opportunities that are supposed to come to you.
Yeah, because you also have to realize you never know who's watching either. Because I forgot to mention this when I was telling you, it's not braggadocious to talk about what you're doing, because I randomly searched Scotty by Nature TV on Twitter just at random, and I seen some person with a verified check on their page, and it was saying that they was watching my videos, and this is a person that was nominated for an Emmy. This is a Emmy nominated writer looking at my shit, and I'm just like, what the fuck? What the hell? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I was taking a bet. I said, ain't no telling what the hell she didn't see me say or talk about. You know what I mean? But that just goes to show you, you never know who's watching you. You never
You
know. So
never know. You
talk
never
about that
know.
shit.
You never know.
So going back into the show, on its first season, like how did you come across the platform? Did anybody introduce it to you? Did you get scouted, or how did that come about?
So, how did I come to be on the platform? Basically, I think I was following Q already. And I kind of saw him posting about the show. I really didn't know much about it. And I saw him posting about it. I think this was around 2019 because right around the same time I had done Claudia Jordan. And Q was getting ready to move here, and he ended up reaching out to me. And so we kind of talked about the possibility of me, auditioning and becoming a part of the platform. Right. So that was like, November? Maybe by the time February hit, now we're in a full-blown pandemic. And I'm like, I think maybe season 3 of Chasing Atlanta had just ended, or we were like, Dallas was just getting started. So I watched that season of Dallas, and then I was like, oh, let me go back and binge watch the content. And that's how I came to know about the platform.
Okay, sweet. So it's kind of like Q was y'all already had like a relationships, and so it's kind of like let me just use what I got to see if I could put together this franchise.
Yeah. I didn't know him for real. I just follow him on Instagram, and that I didn't even know if he followed me back. But when he saw the post from Claudia Jordan, and then like we end up kind of connecting via there, and so it's like, and I did the show. I almost wish I hadn't seen anything though, to be honest with you.
Really? How changed it, you think?
I think seeing it almost over prepared me, like in a way, like especially when you see the stuff like fighting and the arguing and stuff like that. Like, yeah, I'm not a stranger to that stuff, but from a professional standpoint, every time I had been on TV, it was highlighting my career as the expert. So competing on a makeover series as a featured expert, going to Claudia Jordan to talk about holiday looks as an expert, going to the morning news, being interviewed about my career as an expert in my field. So that type of a thing was kind of new to me. I was like, okay, this is fun. I can go get my little love and hip hop fantasy on. But then once I started being in some of the situations, I was like,
Is the child? That's why I said I can't do it. People be trying to tell me and Jamar to be on that show. I'll be like, girl, no.
when the camera start rolling, you don't know what the hell might happen. And that's what the part that I was like, oh, wow. So, I felt like last year, that's why I hate that I saw it, because I feel like I almost over anticipated it. And because I was anticipating it, I was ready to be reactive to whatever. And I think this time around,
Yeah.
because I'm going into these situations and I know I got some drama and some stuff that's lurking. I'm not anticipating it. I'm just going in, enjoying the situations. I'm speaking my mind. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling the truth. Like, I felt like another huge thing with me, and this is why I think perhaps Scotty, you were able to kind of understand my position with the situation with Rich Vaughn, was that I said I wasn't going in slinging no mud, trying to read nobody and do all the extra shit. If I get into a situation, I'm solely speaking on the facts. Now, I might I might throw my jabs, but I'm speaking to the realities of the situation, not this delusional made up bullshit. And so I think, I just wanted to take a more authentic and natural approach to being around the group, to what I wanted to convey. And I feel like I had a better season because of it.
I say that too.
Still
And
draining, but a better season.
well, well, Better, we take the progress. We'll just take the progress.
Right.
You gotta take the bitter with the sweet, really.
And you had touched on this a little bit already, but going into your second season, did you have like any sort of strategy on how you would tackle it than you did season one?
Not really like a strategy. I just knew that I wanted, first and foremost, I wanted to have fun because I feel like there were moments where we had a lot of fun last year, but y'all didn't always get to see it. And I feel like because it was so like a rare occasion. And so this time I wanted to go and have fun. I was like, let's try to, do fun stuff. I knew I wanted to work on working on a trip. There was something that production was already working on as well. So they brought it up to me. So that's how it came to be that I hosted the trip because I wanted us to do fun things. I wanted to really showcase. I felt like last year I got a good chance to showcase a lot of work. I brought influencers and stuff like that. But this time I was like, I wanted to, like I said, I wanted to be bigger. I wanted the opportunities to be bigger. And I wanted everybody to see me, especially post-COVID, getting back into my groove. And so that's really the only thing I was focused on.
Okay. I don't know if you guys get to see, like, before you start filming, if when there's new cast members, do you get to see like the names of who's going to be a part of the season prior
No,
to?
they don't even tell you who's coming back from the old season. So you don't really know. Like, I remember when I kind of figured out that D wasn't back and I was like, oh shit, like who else didn't get called back? So I didn't really know really until maybe like the first few weeks of filming who was officially on the cast. I didn't know until, and I didn't meet everybody until obviously like February. Like I had heard that William was going to be on the cast because we know some mutual people. So I had already heard that he probably was going to be on the cast. I never knew or heard of Rich Baum. So I didn't know his appearance in Nicole event was a complete surprise to me because I didn't know the guy, Nicole, same thing. I had never heard of her. I didn't really know her. So when I got the invite to go to the brunch, I was like, oh shit, like it's a new person. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like, oh my God, like this is happening, Chase in Reality is like freaking 007. Okay, and Q is like 007 times 2. So make him 0014 because they don't tell you nothing. Shit just like literally like you wake up one morning and the trailer is out and you're like, oh, today's the trailer, like you know what I'm saying? So they are very secretive.
Oh my God. I mean, now, and I just thought about this. I'm gonna substitute this question with the one that was a follow up because if you didn't know, then you didn't have any preconceived notions of the cast. So how would you say is because like when we did Atlanta for season 5, when I was brought out to film it, watching it happen in real time and watching all that stuff go down without all the bells and whistles of the editing and such, and watch it as it airs, like does it feel like a completely different situation?
Yeah, it does. It feels like a completely different situation, and especially like in this year more than last year because we filmed for much longer this year than we did last year. Like some of the shit, like I just completely forgot about. Like I'll be seeing something, I'll be like, oh damn, that happened, or like, oh, I kind of remember that, but I kind of forgot that it happened this way. And then once they, add all of their little bells and whistles to it and stuff like that, like some of it is extremely funny and entertaining to see, even though you already lived it, because seeing it back is like wild.
It's girl. It's just I feel like I just have all types of anxiety because y'all don't know what's gonna get shown. Y'all don't remember half the shit that y'all said.
Everything is Chase in Reality is fast and furious, okay?
That it is. Go ahead, Scott.
Okay, so one of the biggest storylines that you had from last season to this season was that goddamn LLC. Lord knows I got sick of hearing them tweets. I got so sick of hearing about that damn LLC. So what's the status of the LLC today and your relationship with the people that kind of, conspired against you to get it, like Jayla and King Payne? So where's the status with the LLC and your relationship with those two?
Can I just tell you guys something? I'm about to give y'all a semi-exclusive, but it's not a real exclusive. The LLC situation is not going to come up on the show again, but you're going to see something very fun and interesting regarding the LLC. I'm gonna just tell y'all that. Like today, it just literally got confirmed. So I'm just gonna say you're gonna see something very, very fun. And what you're gonna see, in my opinion, is how you take these situations to the next level. You know what I'm saying? Because I like to bring it big. So I think this is gonna be very fun, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. Now, regarding the LLC, like me and King Payne, we're in a good space, probably the best space that we've ever been in. Since we met each other. Like we pretty much from the night that we met, it was up. We had some pockets of fun in between, but for the most part, it was just smoke. So I'm in the best space that I've ever been with him. Jayla as well. I'm in a really, really good space with her. In terms of the LLC itself, I don't have no resentment about how it happened. It was just, you know what I'm saying? It's something that happened on the show. I had to learn from it. They had to learn from it. And I think by the time that I know it felt like it was dragged on, but like from a realistic perspective, we found out about it at the reunion, which was like what, in June? I didn't see King Payne again in person until February, which was at Jeremy's house. I hadn't seen him. And in between seeing him, all of the shit had happened with that other show, with him going online, trying to, you know what I'm saying, throw shots. And so a lot of stuff had happened. We had go back into season 2 of the show. I'm still like, I know I got to address it because obviously I'm getting the ads on Instagram. Oh, you don't even own your LLC. King Payne played you. You supposed to be a businessman. You know what I'm saying? So I got all of this shit going on. So I know in terms of the show, I have to go and address it. And I have to make it clear where I stand, A, as a business person, and B, that I'm not going to let nobody come and play me on camera. So when we walked into Jeremy's house that night, it was like, ding, 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 ding. Let's go.
Baby, it just killed me. It just killed me.
And what would you say you at with Jayla right now?
Oh, Jayla, I love Jayla. We in a good space. Like we speak. I actually just talked to her like a couple days ago. We talk often. I have a lot of love for Jayla. You know what I'm saying? I don't hold any resentment, no grudges. I feel like we both made mistakes, but I feel like the beautiful part about it is that we were able to eventually see our mistakes, and then because of that, come out on the opposite end stronger. Like I know everybody's like, "Oh, y'all relationship so fake," and blah 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 blah. I feel like you're damned if you do, you're damned if I don't. If I would have came back this season and still been mad at the girl, then I would be childish and I need to get over it and I need to let it go. But here I am, not only making up with her, but genuinely having a relationship, and then that gets called into question. So it's like, you know,
you can't please everybody.
You can't please everybody, but I'm happy that her and I are pleased. So that's the only thing I really care about.
Well, I'm gonna say this before I go into the next question. You and King Payne being cool is what the show needed. Okay, it's what the show needed from the very beginning. It's what the show needed. So shout out to the official King Payne, whom I was watching on YouTube before he was on the show, which I was, you know, that's probably one of the only people that I knew before y'all started doing Chasing LA, because you know I already knew him because he was doing content. So shout out to official King Payne. So some of the first, so your first scenes in the group after your birthday was Nicole's Thanksgiving dinner. So what was your first impressions of her upon visiting her home and meeting her? What did you think about her at first when you first met her?
When I first met Nicole, I thought she was great. Like out the gate, in my opinion, she came and did more than a lot of people had done in like almost 2 years. You know what I'm saying? She was having an event at her home, a nice event at that. You know what I mean? So it was clear to me that she was, you know, going to bring something substantial to the show in terms of like elevation, because I know that was something that, you know, the viewers wanted to see was more of an elevation from us based off of season 1. I totally get it. And I felt like she fit the bill for that, in my opinion.
Okay, so with that being said, as we go ahead and get into the rest of the question, well, it's really another question, but it's really a continuation of this one. Would you say that this was the scene that planted the seed with Nicole and Jayla?
Oh, gosh.
Because it was Rich Baum coming as the invite from Jayla as the plus one. Then so Jayla's not here, so can she still invite the plus one?
I'm gonna say yes, but not. I don't think that was the intention of it. I think so much happened that night and so much was said that was not showcased. You could tell that people had watched the show and come into the cast with a particular notion of how they view people and what their standpoint on people would be. And I feel like off the gate, it was kind of clear where Nicole stood with possibly wanting to get to know Jayla and what that would look like. Or at least in my opinion, it was very clear. Like just based off of the commentary that was made, some of the comments, it just didn't give, I'm meeting a new person and I would like to get to know them. It didn't give that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm trying to see how I phrase this question because this kind of took me off guard. So if you remember the very first after show, and I want to believe like everything was going well, and then Nicole came, and there was just like friction, and it started to do this, and then it just went. I was like, wait, I thought we just saw the episode where I think y'all were at what was it, San Diego?
In San Diego, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that was when you just started looking at her like, because I was like, all that animosity of the after show. I said, wait, hold on, where did this come from? What happened?
Yes. Well,
so, like, where did y'all go left?
I like to pride myself on what I like to call industry maturity. So I'm watching the show and I understand that yes, the viewers are going to see us have a conflict. However, allow that to play out and just in terms of the social media and how you address things publicly, follow the timeline of the show. But some people are so eager and so ready for their moment of conflict, which they think is going to catapult them to stardom, that they ready to get into it before it ever even happened. So that was the whole thing, was like, just let me have my after show, girl. You're gonna have your after show. You're gonna get your opportunity to speak your piece, address whatever. So I didn't understand, like, why are you here? What is going to happen between us is going to happen in its due time. At that point, that was probably, San Diego was probably the first time where I started to feel a little agitated and some of like the little shade stuff. Like when she was, the night we had went to her hotel room and she was talking about Fly King, that kind of was like, I just kind of got quiet because I was sitting there thinking like, now girl, why are we going here? Like, can we just have a good night? You know what I'm saying? It just, that was the first moment. But by the time we got to Poetic's house, and they show y'all the flashback of when she said Jayla, was a charity case and stuff like that, I was like, stop. We not doing this. Like, I kind of went a little harder in that moment. I hate that y'all didn't see it because it was a moment that got kind of tense because I think it was the first time that I really outwardly was like, cut it out. Like, stop talking about this girl. You don't fucking know her.
Right.
So it just,
Ooh, well, at the mixer, Jeremy's parties, when you and King Payne were going at it, was it all about the LLC, or was there something that was additional to that as to the cause of your conflict? But I think you had said that you had not even seen him.
Yeah, I hadn't even seen him. I mean, it was the LLC, but it was like some of the online stuff had happened. Like I said, like as they kind of showed in the show, like that show was happening or whatever they was trying to do with it was happening around that time. And I guess because it was going to be this mashup of different people from different shows, they were creating like these polls to see like who the fan favorites and who they wanted to see. I didn't consent to like none of my images or me being considered in that. It was like a no harm, no foul type of situation. You know what I'm saying? I was like, well, if they reach out and have a conversation about the show, we'll see how it go. But in terms of, it was no, you know what I mean? Like, it's just this stuff popping up on social media about a show that I don't even know about, ain't had no conversation about, ain't talked to nobody about. And that's fine if that's how you want to go about it. But with regard to King Payne and I, it was starting to cause like a conflict because he basically felt like Well, D Hawkins went and left whatever comment he left about like we gonna be working, blah 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 blah. I was like, and D Hawkins messy ass go tag me, so I was like responding to D Hawkins because he tagged me. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my friend. Like you're tagging me on social media. Like okay, so that's why I didn't want to feed into what he said, so I just put like little emojis, and I knew he was saying it because we were working together on a project at that time. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, well, he just, he popping his shit right now. He was kind of feeling the way about King Pain. So I just wrote the laughing emojis back to it or whatever. So he literally moments later, next thing you know, I look up King Pain and Quan on YouTube Live, and King is going in on me. I'm at work. I'm working on the goddamn kids show. Okay. So it's kids on set. I'm furious. I'm in my trailer on live arguing with King Pain. We going back and forth. So, all of this shit had happened or whatever. And then nothing. I don't get no apology. You're mad at me because you bought my LLC. So now you walking into the room like, y'all know how King Pain is. He can be shady. So when he came into the room, I felt like you coming in with all of this energy towards me and you bought my LLC. Like you can't even come in at that time humbly and feel like, oh, well, you know what? Andre deserves a minimum of conversation to like get this back on track,
Mm-hmm.
Woo. You had a roller coaster of a relationship, right? Wow.
We do.
Cool.
We have a roller coaster relationship. But right now we are on I really enjoy King Pain, y'all. Like it's so I'm actually happy and excited to say it because he's so fun. He's so funny. We hang out off camera, and his mom is so nice, and like his family is nice. Like I can tell that ultimately he comes from a good, like a good background, a good space, and I feel like I'm able to navigate our complexities because I know ultimately like he's a good person.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Yeah,
Okay.
period to the period.
I tried to get King Pain up here 2 years in a row. It's just not working. I have tried. King Pain, if you watching, I don't know why you hate us, but we still love you.
Really? Oh my god.
He said he watched my stuff. Like
Y'all know King Pain is a character, child. I can't listen.
I don't know. Yeah, because he said he said he had congratulated me when he was on TTB or something like that. You hit the congrats on 37K, blah blah blah. I was like, oh, I didn't know he knew. So I'm just like,
He definitely King Pain is a character, but I'm learning in this space. Everybody, like, even like I was talking to somebody about it because they were talking about like, the reviewers, because they didn't know about the reviews and the reviewers. And I guess they stumbled upon a review and I was like, yes, like this whole web experience is like full of characters from the cast to the reviewers to the fans. It's just like all of these different personalities and things going on. Sometimes I be like, Lord, what did I get myself into?
Child, I don't review no more. I don't even review the shows no more. I just had y'all up here to do the interview, but reviewing it.
If people got too personal, then you have relationships with the cast, they feel like you should say certain things that way, and it's just like
I take it all in stride. Honestly, I do. I feel like I never really had no situations with the reviewers last year. I watch the reviews because I like to hear the feedback about, what people think about the show. I know last year Scotty thought I was an elitist child. And you said something, Scotty. I was like, he don't even know right now that we have this in common. But you talked about when you worked at Kroger. Kroger was my first job, and I worked there for probably like 7 years. From high school through college, I worked at Kroger. And I was like, so he think I'm an elitist because when I said to Alicia, I was like, but little did he know, I was working at Kroger, working at self-checkout. I was a cashier.
Oh my God, I cannot see you at self-checkout, child.
I was at self-checkout, child, yes. Yes.
Oh, I'm so tickled. I am too tickled.
Listen, Kroger, as they like, it's like a big, like a corporation or whatever. They have another grocery store called Ralph's, and we have Ralph's here in California. So I shop at Ralph's specifically because it reminds me of being in Kroger.
There's like California parallel. There's like Ralph and Kroger, Whole Foods, and like pavilions.
Oh, I never really noticed that about pavilions.
Does a pavilion give you whole food?
I'm gonna tell you, I never go to pavilions. I'm more like a Whole Foods person, especially like Whole Foods or Trader Joe's. I like Whole Foods.
I was a food for less.
I go to Food for Less. I go to Food for Less. I go to Ralph's and I
Food
go to
for
sometimes
Less
go
is
to
a
Whole
part of
Foods.
Kroger too, right?
Huh? Oh yeah, Food for
Food
Less
for
is
Less
part
is
of
a part of
Kroger.
Kroger too.
So I'm just like, I'm just going to the other Kroger.
That is definitely what Ralph's is. It gives you very Kroger type of tea.
It's very Kroger. I
Yes, it
still use my
is.
same Kroger number.
I'm
I ain't
sorry.
even updated, child. I was like, oh, it worked cool, fine.
Don't do it. Get them points off of that gas.
Period.
Horrid. So it seems like William DeBed rubbed everybody the wrong way at the mixer. Why do you think that was?
I think because the mixer was already very intense, and when William came in, he came in on full William the Baddest mode. It was, the bodysuit, the spin, the like. I think when you first meet him, if you don't know him, it can be like a bit polarizing. I
Yeah.
had knew of him and seen him around for quite some time, and funny enough, very funny tidbit. I'm gonna give y'all another tidbit. I invited William the Baddest to the very first event that I hosted, the Mills and Hills Fashion Show, but I didn't even know he was on the show. I just had invited him because we had been interacting on social media, and I was like, you know what? Let me see what this guy is about. I swear to God.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, the Mills and Hills Fashion Show, I was like, this feels maybe like a comfortable space, something that he could appreciate and be able to come and, you know what I'm saying? So I invited him to it. I wrote him on Instagram and he had left me on red. And I was like, I wonder why he didn't respond. We had exchanged, little social media pleasantries in the past. And I was like, I couldn't believe he didn't respond. And I guess he probably couldn't respond because he was on the show. And he
Mm-hmm.
couldn't probably say, oh, I'm on the show. So if it would have played out, y'all would have saw William at the Mills and Hills Fashion Show.
I mean, he still could have win. It didn't really have to do with the show. He still could just win just because you invited him. But I
I
don't know.
know. It was just crazy,
Right.
but I mean, like I said, like I think in terms of that night, I think people were just, probably, especially if you've never seen him, you never heard of him, if you haven't, you know what I'm saying, seen the projects and stuff that he's been a part of, it could probably be polarizing. But for me, I definitely had to take like a slow approach to getting to know him. But after getting to know him and understand him, I don't, I see it for him. I do. I see it for him. I don't think he's a bad person. I don't think he's malicious. I think in terms of his persona and his character, sometimes he gets, the bad end of the stick. But I think that he ultimately, again, I would say he's a good person.
I would say I like him better on this show than I did on Bad Boys, but that's a whole nother story.
I agree. Y'all
Um,
know he started chasing before he did Bad Boys.
Right.
that's the gag. That's the gag. Okay, it's my turn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so at the mixer, you called Jayla on FaceTime and stuff, and that's where Nicole made the, comment about her surgery and being at Dollar General, and people took it as if she was taking shots at Jayla. So do you feel like she was being shady in that moment, or was it possibly taken out of context in that moment?
I think she was absolutely being shady in the moment. I don't think it was nothing to take out of context about it. When I face, I don't think it was nothing to take out of context about it. I think she was absolutely being shady. I personally think that when I called Jayla, although it was, maybe contributed to the messiness in some form or fashion, it was more so because
I'm like, okay, acknowledgement, yes.
perhaps, I don't know. I'm just like, I'm not saying it did. I'm not saying that it didn't, but perhaps, let's just say that it did. Okay. It contributed to the messiness of the situation, but it was only because people had already been speaking about her prior to me calling her. Because when King Payne was in the kitchen and somebody said, oh, you free? I think Nicole asked him, well, you're friends with Jayla. I think, she was probably trying to figure out before she said whatever she was about to say next. But she said, oh, you're friends with Jayla. And he was like, well, I don't know. Da-da-da-da. So I was like, so you over there talking about you don't even know if you friends with her. Now we got Nicole talking about why she ain't around. Let's just get her on the line.
Right.
I'm friends with her. I just sat with her recently. She just came to my birthday. I don't have a problem with her anymore. So let's get her on the line.
That's my kind of carrying on right there.
Right. Okay. Okay. So it seems as though you're the closest to Flight King I on the cast. So what about him makes him a great friend and a great ally to you?
I think we have just genuinely built a genuine friendship over the course of filming the show. The first time that I had ever met him or knew of him with regard to the show was the day that I met him at the showroom with Fran. That was my very first time meeting him. And even right after meeting him, we didn't necessarily talk like right away. That might have been in like September or October. About December, he reached out to me about doing a collaboration with Shop Him or whatever. And I was like, I felt like when I looked at his brand, I feel like the aesthetic of his brand was very similar to the aesthetic of Shop Him. So I was like, you know what? I'm open to this. And through the process of us, collaborating on the show, it was like we're talking every day. We were playing in the Love Hate Mixer. He had did the photo shoot where he used the Shop Him clothing. So we were in communication frequently about the stuff that we had going on. And I think that's what just lent itself to us building a genuine friendship. Like, then we started hanging out outside of the camera. So I think just our relationship has just had a lot of time to just grow and develop naturally. So when
We
y'all
can
see us
tell
and we
too.
like on camera, it feels so natural because it's like shit that we be saying to each other when we on the phone. Like, y'all have no idea. Like, I swear to God, last week I talked to Fly King on the phone for at least, I know for a fact it was 4 hours. Like, I look when we got ready to hang up the phone, the timer was like 4.5 hours because we'll just be talking and you know what I'm saying, we just have that type of a vibe with each other. So I'm glad to have that because I feel like it gives me a safe space and safe moments on camera where I can really feel comfortable to be myself.
Yeah. I can tell too. It's very genuine.
At least one of the
Um,
shows that you're
yeah.
with.
Um, do you feel like Nicole was dragging on the sweater situation with Ian a bit too far?
Yes, I think she drug it a bit too far. Not even like I just felt like it was so malicious or something like that. I just felt like, girl, you've said it, you addressed it, you said it again, you addressed it, you brought it up again, we've addressed it. Like, what more is there left to do? Excuse me. I feel like with regard to like TV shows and being on camera, like when the camera come on and you say it once or twice and then it make it to the edit, it's been said. You get what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So from that point, it's no point to continue to reiterate it unless it's a new point or a new something that you're gonna add to it because it gets redundant. So I feel like from both perspectives, and also I just thought it was silly. You know what I'm saying? I was like, all right, girl, like I get it. Like, damn. We talked about it the night of your party. We talked about it in San Diego. We talked about it at Jeremy House. Like we talked at the Poetic House. We've talked about it. And I think some people will try to compare it to the LLC, but I feel like the difference with the LLC is that I had conversations with people about it until I had the direct conversation with the direct person that I needed to have about it. She had the
Mm-hmm.
same conversation with the direct person multiple times, and it wasn't that serious. Like, it was a beautiful party. We enjoyed it. It was at your home. It was, you know what I'm saying? It's not. Move on. Come on.
So moving on from the sweater, and you kind of touched based on this a little bit earlier in terms of how the cast trip came about, because we want to hear your account of it because Nicole and Rich are saying one thing's going on and say, oh, how's he trying to say he hosted this, but we're the ones devoting X number of dollars. He needs help, but he's trying to say it's his trip when it should be our trip. All of this back and forth. So, like, what was really going on?
Okay, the trip. I was just like, let me think. The trip. The trip, essentially, definitely number one. First and foremost, I was always gonna host a trip before I knew that Rich and Nicole existed and was gonna be a part of this group. Fly King and I were already slated to host the trip. When we did our interviews or whatever you want to call them, and they ask, what do you want to do? What is it that you want to bring this season? Why should we bring you back? Whatever. I talked about the trip. They expressed to me that they wanted me to host the trip. So Fly King and I started immediately. Fly King was another person that was already a big advocate for the trip. We were both kind of coming to queue like we want to do a trip. So he had already wanted us to do it anyway. So it was going to be happening regardless. And so I just, people have this complex where they think that they are the make or break, the beginning and the end of any situation. These things existed before you and they will exist after you. So I just, I know that you contributed and we appreciate it. So anyway, so we talked to you about the trip or whatever. We started talking about destinations, locations, or whatever. It just so happened that first we were thinking about going to San Diego, but I ended up getting a booking in San Diego. So I was like, well, at that time I was like, well, this is too early in the season to make this the cash trip because it's too early. So I was like, well, let's just make San Diego a little mini getaway. I'll go do my hosting. I'll invite some of the new people out, and then we'll collaborate together to do a bigger trip because I felt like it just in San Diego, y'all got to see us already start to travel together. So it went good. You know what I mean? Like everybody had a good time. We all had fun and the vibe was there. In terms of the trip, like I'm thinking from multiple angles. Collaborating on the trip just makes the trip bigger and better because now there's more to offer to the trip. You know what I mean? Like so now, like if it was just me and Ian at first, and now Rich and Nicole, because we're all having a good time in San Diego, and y'all down for the cause of the trip, and you're gonna bring something to enhance the experience of it and what it brings camera quality wise. I'm all for it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's how we got to the point of them coming to be a part of the trip. So I'm doing all of the back end stuff for the trip. Looking for the houses, breaking down the numbers. We all collaborated, trying to pick out the dates, trying to make everything work. As y'all know, it's 10 cast members. My budget for the trip was to try to get something for around $3,000. So if 10 cast members pay $300, that's $3,000 for the trip. We know for a fact that Jeremy did not go and William did not go. So budget-wise, that take us now down to I think like 2,400 or something like that. 8 times 3 is 8 times 3 is 24. Yeah, so 2,400. So boom. So now we're at $2,400. The first Airbnb that I found, we missed out on it. Oh yeah. All right. No, you good. Okay, just don't put this far. So now we're down to 8 times 3, that's 2,400. Okay, cool. The first Airbnb that we were going to get, we missed it because I asked everybody if the whole trip is $300, send me your first half of $150 by this date so I can reserve the house. I'm not gonna put no motherfucking $3,000 house on my car and 6 people show up to the trip. And now I'm responsible for all of this on top of the other things that I'm going to contribute to the trip because the house is only one part of the trip. We still have to have food. We still have to have alcohol. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'm not going to put no $3,000 house on my car. So anyway, we missed the house. Cool. We found another house. The house was $2,600, like it was like $2,577, and you had to pay $100 deposit to book it. So now we at $2,677. We have 8 people going. There's $2,400. It was a balance of $277 that was missing. I texted in the group chat. I said, hey, this is the situation. We have a balance of $277. If any of the hosts want to pay an additional amount, we can figure it out. You can get your own room and we'll go from there. Because the original plan was because everybody was paying the same amount, the rooms would be shared just in the best way to accommodate everybody as much as possible. Nicole paid an extra $200. Rich paid an extra $100. That's $300. The balance was $277. That means that there was an extra $23.
Indeed.
I paid the extra $23. I bought all of the food. I bought all of the alcohol because that was part of my arrangement was that, you know, obviously I'm gonna put in on the house, whatever is left over, I'll figure out the rest of it. I'm gonna do 2 meals a day. There will be a day where we'll go out to dinner, one day we'll go out to brunch. So I'm gonna do 2 meals a day for all of the days. I'm gonna provide this amount of bottles. That's my contribution. So yes, you are a host, and like Nicole, her contribution, she offered to bring her chef because it was the same chef that she had at her house during the Friendsgiving, and some of us were commenting that we like the food. She was like, "Oh well, honey, y'all like the chef? Y'all like the food? Well, honey, I just bring my chef to Palm Springs. Honey, it ain't no big deal, honey. You know, Big Mama Nicole doing her thing. She flexing her muscle. Cool, bring them. We want to have a nice dinner."
Right.
Okay.
Rich paid an extra $100. His activity was the ATV. We all had to pay for ATVing ourselves. So when we go, like, you know, I take issue that when they go on these lives and they go and commentate about it, they talk about it as if $277 was going to make or break the trip. You get what I'm saying? Like, yes, you pay extra and we appreciate it, but in the big picture, we're paying thousands of dollars. So do you think $277 is going to be the make or break of the trip? And you pay extra and you got your own room. So you did pay extra, but you really did it because you were accommodated for it. Nobody else. I paid. I did everything that I did, and I still shared a room with the Fly King. Fly King did everything that he did. He gave extra money towards groceries. He paid the balloon decorator, which if y'all ever had a balloon decorator and a balloon decorator had to drive from LA to Palm Springs, that was easily $300-400. The big ass fucking bottle of Padron, that bottle is $119. You can go look it up for yourself. Because that wasn't the little bottle of Patron, it was the big bottle.
I believe
so when you start talking about what you do, Fly King paid more for the bottle of alcohol than Rich contributed extra. If you break it down. And he got his own room. So what is it that y'all want from me? I've said on the show multiple times that we're hosting the trip together. I thanked y'all multiple times. So I don't understand where the thought of I'm making the trip about me, where it came from.
The tea. Child. All right. I love
that. That was a lot.
That was a lot. I mean, well, the receipts will be there.
The thing about
and
numbers is they don't change. Okay, from interview to interview, you can tweet about it, Instagram about it. Numbers don't change. Those were all of the numbers. I put all of the text messages, the receipts. I put everything out there because it's nothing to hide. Like, I didn't pocket no money. You know what I'm saying? I still spent a shit ton of money. So it's just like, cut it out with the money shit.
So in this latest episode, we saw that, Nicole made her comments about saying thank you for helping us host the trip, and mentioned you as the others. And then when you responded, Rich had retaliated against you, for your comments. I guess he felt like there was some sort of built-up animosity over these past couple of episodes. Where would you think that all of that stems from? Do you have any idea as to what was going on that day with Rich Baum as it pertains to you?
I think Rich Baum decided to adopt an issue that had nothing to do with him. I think he felt like he needed to stand up and support Nicole, and therefore by doing it, he needed to have an issue with me because Nicole and I were at odds. I didn't understand why he was so angry the night before. So if y'all think about flashback, the episode before when we were all in the living room and Jayla was like, well, it was kind of tense at brunch. And I was like, yeah, the vibe was kind of different or whatever. And he was like, do you know me? And it was like, well, no. But I also know when I'm experiencing a vibe that's off. So that was, to me, a very clear moment for him to say, well, you know what? As a man, I don't respect how you've been addressing the situation with Nicole, and I think you should stay out of it because I think it has something to do with Nicole and Jayla. We could have had a conversation about that. You get what I'm saying? But that's not what you chose to say. What you chose to do was adopt her issue and then find yourself in a space of where now you want to get in my face. The night wouldn't have went how it went if Nicole wouldn't have started her little speech by throwing shade, because I feel like, and I've said this before, I feel like in the world that Nicole exists in, she have the final say. In Chasing LA, in this group, you don't have the final say. So if you decide to say something, people reserve the right to say something back.
Well, that's true, and that should be expected.
Period. So you said something, I respond. You gave a speech. Now I'm gonna show you how to give a speech. And cheers to that.
It was the fan for me. It was the fan for me. I said, "Oh, Andre,
King Pain fan took over my body, child. It took over.
It's like, oh.
King Pain took over, but his fan took over my body, and I just started clearing girls left and right. I was like, oh Lord, what's going on?
Oh my God. I think one of the most interesting back and forths from the season, at least thus far, was when the cast trip first started. And so you and Ian were in the kitchen, and Nicole comes in, and it becomes the thing of the subject of Jayla again. And the timeline of her surgery, and if she's lying. And one of the things that I mean, we're still gonna, get to have our conversation with Nicole is because, like, I think Ian asked her, "Is like, does any of that matter to you?" And she says, "No." Mm-hmm. So then, like, so then, what's the point about? What's the discussion? Why are we shouting?
Right.
Yeah, I felt that way.
And I was just like, so what was that argument really about, do you think? Was it because whether or not it was true, or do you think there was something else underlying?
I think the underlying issue probably at that point was then she might have started feeling like maybe like we were bailing out on her and kind of leaving her, you know what I'm saying? Like hanging her out to dry type of a situation. I think that's ultimately what it was. But then I feel like I don't understand the logic behind that because I held her feet to the fire at Poetic House. Again, they didn't show it all in its entirety, but at Poetic House, I told her she shouldn't be talking about Jayla. At Jeremy House, I asked her what was the problem with Jayla. So I feel like at that moment, now you still are not taking ownership, but for me, what's becoming a problem is now you trying to position it like I'm the reason that you said these things. Because she was like, well, you, the reason that this is said is because y'all set up the conversation. So I'm like, well, girl, I ain't said shit up. Like, I don't know what you're going to say. And at the end of the day, like, yeah, maybe we're talking about Jayla and she's not there. It's not negatively talking about her. So then what gives you the right to start talking negative about her? And instead of owning it, now you're going to throw me under the bus about it.
Mm-hmm. Whew. Well, I just was like, why are we, I felt like Hershey in that moment. Like, what are we doing?
He was over it. He was over it. Okay. Over it.
So me and Hershey, we be right here. We be
right
here with Hershey.
Y'all have similar energy. I could totally see that.
They do. They do.
I can totally see that.
They definitely do. I've known this bitch for almost a decade. They got the same energy.
I can totally see that. Y'all have similar energy, so I get it.
That's my girl.
Yes. Okay. But so ignore, because your mother was brought up recently on this show, and it was not in the best, light. It was negative stuff mentioned. But ignoring the negative stuff, what was the greatest lesson that your mother taught you?
Man, I think I get a lot of my strength from my mom. Just, I feel like, especially in terms of the show and stuff like that, I come across as this very strong individual, I think, and I get a lot of that strength from my mom. I just think that she was the type of person that, like, as an adult, you look at your parents in a kind of a different light and think about all of the things that they had to sacrifice and that they had to do. You know what I'm saying? For you to have what you had, whether it's a little or a lot. And I think looking back on that, I'm able to see how strong she was and understand that I never really saw her break a sweat and keep it cool and still have all of the things that I wanted. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think my strength is definitely what I get from her. And although this week wasn't probably my favorite moments that happened surrounding my mom, I do feel good and I'm happy about the fact that I opened up about it on the platform. Because on terms of the show, I never really talked about my situation with my parents. Both my mom and my dad are deceased. And I feel like just opening up about it and getting the messages and the feedback, I feel good about it. And seeing people, know that although some bullshit was said about my mom, using, I always say hashtag Team Glenda, seeing people put hashtag Team Glenda made me feel so good because I felt like she still gets to live on, and something that I'm doing in one way or another is still holding her name alive, her spirit alive. And even in a negative moment, I still feel good about that.
That's a good one. That's a good way to look at it, most definitely. Um, what advice would you give to someone who is getting on reality TV for the first time?
I would say just take your time, take it easy. Don't do too much too soon. Don't feel like you got to do the most. Be true to yourself. You know what I'm saying? And it's all organic and it's all real, but you can still have, strategy and strategic. And you can still make sure that the things that you want to come across about yourself, about your brand, about your business, you can still make those moves to make sure that that is, you know what I'm saying, that that's represented in the light that you would want it to. So keep it real, be honest, and do your thing.
Yeah, because maybe one day y'all just might see me on a reality show one day, but I don't think I'm good for no damn reality show. I don't think
You
I
can do it,
am.
Scotty. Just your faces alone, okay? The smirk, the side eyes, the pursed lip, all of it.
You better ask Jamar. I will get so mad. I'll be like, I'm not filming with them no more. So you cannot put me in no scene
That's
with them
what
no more.
everybody does.
I am not filming with them no more. Don't put me in no scene with them. I don't want to talk to them. Don't put me. I want to talk to them until the reunion. Don't put me
I
in no
said
scene with
that,
them.
child. I said that. The probably the night that I was like, okay, I'm done. Was the love hate mixer? The night that the drink got thrown in my face, I was like, Q, I'm fucking done. I'm not doing this shit. I was done that night. But here I am. I'm living to tell. I had some wild encounters, people foaming at the mouth. I had a knife pulled out on me, a drink thrown in my face. I've had a lot go down in my time in chasing reality, but I think I have emerged myself to not only be a character of just chasing LA, but a character in the chasing reality world. I think when people start
Hmm.
talking about chasing reality and who they people are, like, I'm gonna be a part of the conversation, whether you like me or not.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Um, would you return for another season?
I would definitely do another season. Um, I
However,
would do
comma.
another season. I would
However,
do another season.
So there's no however comma. You would do
There's
another
no
season.
how of a comma. I think for me, and long as it always like, as long as it continues to make sense, and as long as Andario and Q wish to have me, and I feel like that I'm bringing something that people want to see, and that I'm able to elevate and grow. You know what I'm saying? I feel like for me, if I'm around, I'm gonna bring it bigger and better and more every time, because that's just the kind of person that I am. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
if you guys see me again, expect that I'm gonna try to do 10 times more what I did this time. And even if I try at 10 and I only landed it being 3 times more than I did this year, I'm still going to bring more.
hmm absolutely.
Okay. And are you looking forward to the reunion?
Hmm. I don't know. The pot is so hot right now. I don't know how much for it. I'm looking to the reunion. Like, I want
But
to go and give glam and give a look. And, I'm trying to think about my look and what I'm going to do. But at the same time, I'm just understanding that some people do not have a level of control over themselves. And I'm not looking forward to being around nobody that can control themselves. It just, if you can't, I feel like I look at us like housewives. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we've had a scuffle or two here or there, but I feel like at the end of the day, we come and entertain and clear with our words, with our antics, what we bring to the screen. And I think if you want to be a part of this space, you have to understand that and be willing to operate within that realm. And if you're not, then it's just not the platform or the space for you to be in.
I definitely agree. I absolutely agree. And just hopefully nothing crazy happens. I don't think anyone is dumb enough to really set it off like they said they're gonna set it off. But I can just imagine just the anxiety and just like the dauntingness of looking forward to having to deal with people in that realm again, because you don't do and act brand new. At least that's what I imagine.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Especially some people, you know, some people that understand the assignment, even though if you're in a bad space with them, you look forward to like those to going. Like I would say last year for me, Fran is somebody who maybe all season long didn't get the assignment, but she came to that reunion, baby, and she was ready. Okay, she said I ordered my outfit from Wish. I got my makeup done. D Hawkins done, embellished my outfit. Let's go. I'm ready. And I had to
He
give her
said
props
order from
because she
Wish.
came.
now, why you say that?
Well, that was the thing they were talking about. She had got her outfit from Wish, and I was like, well, girl, wherever she wore it from, when she came up in there, she looked good in it, and she was ready to start dragging the girl.
I bet
So
he had to order that outfit months in advance because Wish take forever to send you your shit.
I would say I'll make the Wish order right now and get it Valentine's Day.
okay, well,
Child.
she made her order, she got it, and she had it embellished by D Hawkins. So and she came in, she was ready. And I was like, I could appreciate that because she came in and did her thing. And I think that's what you do at the reunion. You go, you say your piece, you be ready to battle it out with your words. We love Nene. Your Nene done had some wild moments, but she ain't never too much got into a knockdown, drag out physical altercation. Aside from maybe the time when she choked Kim that we didn't see on camera, so we don't know if it happened or not. You know what I'm saying? We love
Right.
her because she come and she throw a one-liner and she get the girls together and she's, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's what you have to do to be in this space.
Right. That's true. That's true.
So towards the end of these, we actually have a couple of little games that we're gonna play.
I see.
It's an old favorite. Fuck Mary Kill.
Oh God.
And these choices, I'm tickled.
And I am very interested to see your insight with these choices. So, fuck Mary Kill between Fly King Eye, Nicole, and Rich Bomb. Yeah.
God.
Yeah. That's what we're doing today.
Listen, I would just marry the Fly King because we can have a platonic marriage. It would be a business arrangement. It's that we both got health insurance. So our businesses are protected. So I'm marrying the Fly King.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, Nicole, let's just go and get in the sack, girl. It'll just be a whole lesbian love affair. It'll just
We know
be a
who
whole
going.
lesbian. And
We know who going in the casket.
Yeah, that should have been an easy one, but it was just like,
We know who going in the casket. Period.
ooh, child. So that was fun.
Fun
So for
and funny. Fun and funny. Okay.
it was. And then the second game is where we're going to go through each of the casts, and you can give your first thoughts or just one word opinions about what you think of them.
Okay.
And I'll start it off first. And Hershey Liqueur Jete.
Real. Yeah.
Okay. King Pain.
Funny.
Yay, that should have been
Funny.
Fly King Eye.
Fly King, I would say Fly King is humble.
Okay. Nicole.
Obnoxious.
Oh, I think I just skipped out over
Yeah.
stuff. I'm looking at the wrong thing, child.
That's fine. That's fine. Rich
Uh-huh.
Bob.
Thirsty.
Oh Lord Jesus.
Poetic.
Poetic is he's safe.
Very that. Very that. Jayla.
Jayla is a wild card.
Jeremy.
Jeremy is reserved.
Yeah.
And last and least, William the Baddest.
You said-
William
say-
is a character. That's easy. William is a character.
Ooh, that's a terrible thing for me to say, but I said it anyway. No.
You said last and least. You shady motherfucker, you.
I can't.
Ooh, William make it so hard, so hard. But actually, you know what? While I have you here, I just thought about something. I don't know if this was ever spoken about, but remember the scene at Jeremy's house, and
Mm-hmm.
you, Jeremy, and Ian were outside on the porch. I want to
Mm-hmm.
mention that there were people in that room that was using Jeremy's name for clout. Who were those people?
I can't believe everybody be asking me that. I'm gonna say this because in the spirit of being in a new space, I think that I'm not gonna necessarily put a name to it, but what I will say, if you audit even those episodes closely, this person made a similar statement about how they made, created, enhanced someone else's existence.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna let it, stay right there. I
Yeah.
can do the math.
The thing about when people have traits. So you can see people, you know what I'm saying? It's like when you have a boyfriend or a partner and y'all know how each other fight. It's that way with the cast members. So you know how certain people fight and certain things that they say. So what they said in one situation, they'll likely say it again in a different situation.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Fair enough. I'm glad I thought about that. So hold on, let me just get that in there real quick. Let me just throw it because I was wondering. But yeah, so we've reached the end of the interview, and we always like to ask our guests, did you feel like you had a good time? Do you feel like Scotty and I did our jobs as the host of the show? Like, give us your feedback on your experience.
Absolutely. I had a great time. I was excited to be here. Like I said before, I didn't get to come through last year. I was, I was in my villain era. Everybody goes through it, but I was in my villain era, so I didn't get to come through last year, but I'm excited to come here. I was excited. I just want to say congratulations to both of you guys on your many, many accomplishments and just your channel and just what you guys do. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of people in these YouTube streets, a lot of YouTube characters, but I think that you guys definitely stand out from some of the craziness that's out there. So shout out to y'all.
Well, I will say this. This normally happens a lot with these interviews that we do with the web series cast members. Sometimes when I watch the show, I have my own outlook on who they are as a person, and then we get them on the show, and my entire mind seems to change about them. Now, I will say this interview is not the reason why. I would say that I've taken more of a liking to you this entire season, to be honest. But this interview made me like you even more than I did before. So yes.
Thank you, babes. Y'all know, babe, that's my favorite word. Thanks, babes.
So we appreciate you coming on, most definitely.
And I didn't have like a lot of people of color to visit and hang around whenever I was in LA. So I'm glad to see, getting to meet you guys. So whenever I come out and see our neck of woods, I'm gonna say, hey, let's link up, let's do something.
Please, Jamar, listen, I love to have cute LA days. I'm like, let's go downtown to the Perch, or let's go over on Sunset to State Social House. Like, I love a cutesy LA day. So let me know, okay?
Yes, please. We'll definitely do some info. But yes, again, thank you so much, Andre, for coming. It has been a pleasure for us, even more so, because I was like, we didn't get to do it last year, but I'm like, we just have things to say. And he's been such a pivotal part of the season. We just had to sort some stuff out. Because I was
Thank you.
I appreciate it. This was fun. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. I had a great time. Thank y'all so much for the love and the support. And, you guys follow me on social media, all about Andre. Follow my shop him, shop_with_him. And stay tuned, Chasing LA. We ain't done yet, child. It's still lots to go.
Lord.
All righty then. Well, you're free to let yourself out.
Okay.
Thank you for coming on.
Bye.
All right. And you guys, that was the interview with us and Andre. Okay, this interview was good, Jamar. I really enjoyed this interview. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't expecting it to be like boring or nothing like that, but I enjoyed it. I think we got to see Andre in a different spectrum, a different light than we normally do, and I had fun with it. Like, I genuinely enjoyed myself. You know, there can be some interviews where I fake the funk and not even be enjoying it at all. But then there's some interviews that I really, really enjoy. Okay, so I really enjoyed this. I did for real.
I did as well, and I know I was looking forward to just because of the for me like the 180-degree change. I'm sure we were both looking at Andre crazy last year.
Right, we definitely was. Okay, period. So I
um,
really enjoyed this, and I'm glad everybody else has.
and to answer Soulful Dog's question, I don't think you have that loaded, but we're doing Nicole's redo tomorrow, actually, at the same time at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Pacific. So we
We
got through.
are.
Yeah. Oh wait. Well, at least that's what she. Remember you agreed to Tuesday. Look at our messages, bitch.
Oh my God, Jesus! I got so much going on tomorrow. I think I can still do it though.
I mean,
No,
mind you.
yes, yes. No. I'm thinking too hard. I can still do it because right now I'm filming Who Was Wrong, another segment Who Was Wrong, and I'm starting to film it this week. And I let me tell you before we go, listen, I've had a lot going on today. Okay, I had to do 2 Yes for the Mess videos. I did 2 episodes of Who Was Wrong with 2 different content creators, so that's 4 videos. Then I did the Bill Collector review, and that was 2 days late, with almost 3 days late, and didn't nobody tune in to watch that review, so I deleted the motherfucker. Then I did this. Then we did this interview. And now after I leave this interview, I gotta go over and do the Whether You Like It or Not panel, because they just started about 10 minutes ago. So I gotta go right on over there and join them or whatnot for that panel. So I've been filming shit all day. Now tomorrow I do Who Was Wrong with, I'm not gonna say who, but I do Who Was Wrong tomorrow. I think around 8 tomorrow. I want to say it's 8 o'clock tomorrow. Tomorrow, Tuesday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me make sure. Let me make sure. I didn't even think about the shit. I'm. Hold on. But let me see. Let me go to my DMs and make sure. Let me
Thank
make
you,
sure.
mother of one. She said, "I love your voice." It was well. I thank you. But I think, at least as far as I know, we're gonna try to get Nicole's part 2 interview tomorrow, because this past Monday she had the incident with her mom happen suddenly, so we had to reschedule.
Okay, so tomorrow I film Who Was Wrong again at 9 Eastern tomorrow. So that's 8 o'clock my time. So yeah, I can still do it.
Okay. All right. Sweet. Well, we'll shoot for tomorrow at 8 for Nicole.
Yes, indeed. So we'll be back tomorrow. God damn. I didn't even make no link or nothing.
Well, I mean, we halfway through it, mind you.
Yeah, we
Yep.
halfway through it. So basically what we're gonna do, we're gonna pick up where we left off with
Mhm.
that.
Yep.
Okay. So we'll be back tomorrow for the prelude tomorrow night at 7. Well, 8 p.m. Eastern time, 7 o'clock Central time, 5 p.m. Pacific time. We'll be back to finish off our Nicole interview, y'all. So I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. You know, when we do these interviews with the reality stars, we do not be expecting our numbers to be so huge and all that other shit. But we had like 70 some folks up in here, so that's pretty good for us with these particular interviews. That was pretty good, you know. So I definitely appreciate that. Huh?
It's just the replay value. Let the girls go watch the replay. Get
Yeah,
them
because I
up.
get most of my views off the back end anyway. You know what I mean? So I know my channel goes. So with that being said, y'all, we're about to get the fuck up out of here right now because I got to go straight over there and do this panel, my Potomac panel. If you guys are interested in watching that, go over to the community wild and go click on that link right now because they already live. They waiting on me and Terrence to come over. Me and Terrence are both late, child. So we're about to get on up out of here and we'll talk to y'all at another time, y'all. And we'll see y'all tomorrow for Nicole's interview part 2. It's the part 2 of her interview. So we'll see y'all then. Bye y'all.
Bye-bye.